What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Today we are working on our collaborative Rube Goldberg machine, and today's topic is trying to add some sort of like user dashboard. This is the project, right? We have some balls jumping around this simulation. But the unique thing about the simulation is that like each of these chambers in the grid are defined by a WebAssembly module. And the reason that this is interesting is because we should be able to allow anybody to upload a WebAssembly module and just run it, right? Where you don't have to worry too much about like the safety of the thing because it's like relatively sandboxed. And each WebAssembly module can now define like a super custom chamber, right? So we have an example of a little guy walking across this thing, and we have like a little spinning bar and some platforms and like a little counter and stuff. And so the idea is that like the simulation as a whole doesn't really know what's going on in a chamber. It just knows I move balls and I coordinate between chambers, right? But each WASM module can do basically whatever it wants with like reasonably unbounded complexity. We have CPU limits and memory limits on each chamber that we added the other day. But like if you can stay within your constraints, then you're good to go, right? And so the problem is right now is when you upload a chamber, there's like kind of like zero feedback of what is happening, right? So I like upload this chamber and oh, I'm not logged in. Shit. Okay, hold on. I should be logged in. I think that I might have made a mistake somewhere. So let's just kind of maybe drop back a few commits. Maybe here. This should do it. Hold on. Stay with me. Yeah, I'm supposed to be there. We might have just introduced a bug earlier today. But suppose I should have this session cookie set, and if I have that session cookie set, it should think that I am an administrator. Refresh. Yeah, it just doesn't. Okay, there's something bugged. But what's supposed to happen is when I upload here. Hold on, actually, we can just log in with my normal Twitch account, and then that should work, unless I really fuck something up. Okay, yeah, I'm logged in. Okay, so if I upload a module, nothing happens, right? Like there's no module added here, but it does go to this like admin panel, which for some reason is broken right now. But like first it goes through like chamber validation to make sure that like the chamber is within the resource constraints that we set, and then it goes to an admin panel where I can like choose to allow to put it in, like choose to accept it as part of the simulation or reject it. And so how to say this? If I reject it, or if it just hasn't been looked at by me yet, or if validation fails, we need some way of flagging to the user that happened. Otherwise, they just won't understand, right? So we need, instead of just going back to the simulation, we should go to like a new user page that shows like maybe what chambers they've submitted and the state that they're in. Then maybe like if they fail validation, it should show on each chamber that we've submitted, like why did we not accept this? And then like a user can like make correct adjustments to make their thing more efficient, take less memory, whatever. Or maybe if I might write like a note if I reject it that says like, oh, I didn't like this for this reason, and so sorry, I'm not going to take it. And yeah, that should be shown to them in some way. So the plan of action is to like first we need to like write down why something failed. Then we need to like have some page where a user can look at that thing and be like, okay, so this is why they didn't like it, or like maybe it's not finished validating. Like they just need to be able to like inspect state, which is kind of the same thing here. Then we need to implement like the ability for me as an admin when I reject something. Maybe when I click reject, it should force me to write something, and then that should get stored in DB and shown in the UI as well. That's a plan for the day. It's a plan. Nothing too crazy. But before we do any of this, I want to understand why the fuck it doesn't know I'm logged in. So we're gonna like fix login bug, because like we really need to be able to like log in as admin to test this stuff. And if it doesn't know who the admin user is, then there's a problem. So what's supposed to happen is I am supposed to let's see. Let's check out latest and greatest. Okay, so what's supposed to happen is when we generate our database, we are supposed to make like an admin user, like a fake admin user for testing. And so if I like SQLite browser, look at test db, we are supposed to see in here users Twitch admin, right? So this is like a fake ID that we have marked on the command line as our admin user. Cool. So there is supposed to be a session ID 222222222 associated with this user ID 2, right? And this admin ID, we turn it into like a base 64 encoded cookie and store it as our session ID. And if we look at where would this go? In our generate test database, we base 64 encode the ID and print it out. So it should be that if that cookie is set in our browser, then we should be logged in as admin. And I don't know why that's not happening. Like I've never seen this before. So let's fix that. Let's fix that. So I guess we can look at our like authentication stuff and try to figure out what the fuck is going on here. So we should get into session ID from header here, where you get like the header that comes with the request. We look at the cookies and we should find it. So let's just maybe be just breakpoint in here. We need to set up a GDB script. So file zig out bin ball machine. And can we run with just like whatever parameters we've been running with up until this point? We have to be careful not to leak our client secrets and stuff. So instead, we don't really need the Twitch client ID stuff for this. So I'm just going to stub it out with like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. It doesn't fucking matter. And yeah, let's just see what's going on. See what's going on. Let's see what is going on. Oh, do we set the breakpoint? I forget. Yeah, we did. Okay. Let's see what is happening. So let's go in here and we'll change our session ID back to the fucking cheating one, which was up here somewhere. This guy. Okay. Paste this in here. Boom. Why didn't this run? I probably fucked up the script somewhere. Oh, there's a quote missing. Oopsies. Oopies. Why is this building every time? It's not supposed to. Not supposed to. Error SQL. Failed to prepare. What is going on? Okay. I probably just introduced a bug in some of this work in progress code, but it's okay. It's okay. It is okay. Oh, it's also possible that my DB was generated with the wrong version from before when I backed up a little bit. Okay, so we are now looking at we are in the code that's supposed to figure out which user I am. So what is in this header buffer? Do we see our cookie? Can we like ask it to print more? Oops, I want to ask for this maybe? Header buff pointer dereference set 500? How do I like? No. Can I like GDB set max string length? I want it to be longer. Show me it all, baby. Show me it all. Set print elements 0. Give it to me, baby. Hell yeah. Okay, so do we have a session ID that looks like it should be what we said? So we are getting the session ID. That's a good sign for us. So here, he's looking through cookies, and we should see that after he kind of found them, he did find the cookie here. Okay, that's something. Now, it looks like, well we need to look at also cookie val op length is 44. So this is, how long is this? Can I count this? Fuck. Echo-n, this, wc-c. That's 44 characters, so this is correct as well. We do have the cookie. Okay. So decoded len is 32, which it's not clear because that does not make it in the binary, but it's okay. It does look like we decoded it. Okay. And what do we get in cookie? Not cookie val. Ret. So we get 32 twos, which is the user ID of the admin. So all of this seems like it's working okay. Oh, but this maybe didn't work. This is at user for request 475. Can we run this again? 475 was it? Session ID from header, return null. Or user from session ID? Which one of these things failed? Can we run this again? Refresh. Play? Play. Refresh? Hello? What's going on? Thread apply all BT. I'm confused. I am confused. Okay, let's go back. Maybe we just fall back on some shitty printf debugging. So user from request is called from server zig user for request. Let's just look maybe here on user info. So can we std debug print no user? Let's just start here. Let's just start there. And maybe we'll go directly to user info here, and that'll also... Oh, okay, wait, this is working. What the fuck? Did I just have two servers running? I do that by mistake sometimes. I don't understand why this is just fine now. That's annoying. But, okay. We'll just kind of say, like, unresolved. I don't know if I just did something, like, fucking stupid there, but that's a little bit of a concerning problem to be having. But it's okay, because it's not really what we were trying to work on today anyways, so we can just kind of pretend the problem didn't happen and move on with our lives. And when it comes back in the future, we'll look again. Okay. But... Okay. So... let's upload something, submit query, and here now we have our example of being able to show if a thing is like, you know, these are the things that we're not ready to accept yet, but maybe we are. And so now, okay, let's get back to this. Store verification failure reason in the database. So I think that there are some modules that I have right now that like don't verify correctly. Maybe this one. Yes. Chamber 8 did not pass validation. Okay, really good. So that was if I uploaded the counter one. Does not pass validation. Okay, cool. So the first thing to do is log why that is the case. Okay, so we kind of like send these, we put the chambers in the database, and then we send them over to this validation thread. And we call this like ensure valid chamber thing, and all he does is he sets like resource limits on our like WebAssembly executor, and then tries to run it. And he just tries to like step the simulation, save it, load it, and render it. And so we should maybe, I want to store like, I think I saw somewhere that you can store the like backtrace of the failure in, if you like ask for more info out of the trap. So what happens is like the WebAssembly engine goes, okay, I have these resource constraints. I'm going to run this function. And there's this concept of like a trap, which is kind of like, it's like if you got like if you like seg faulted on the main machine, right? You're like the process like environment like notices that thing and like interrupts your program and is like, no more. But I know what state you were in when that happened. And so a trap is kind of similar. And that like the WebAssembly engine knows about what happened and can like report that to you. So I just have to like, let's start by like logging it and then figure out how to like propagate that thing to the caller after. Once we figure out like, oh, we have this here. I already did this. So it looks like we don't get this trap message. We just get chamber 8 did not pass validation. So why is it failing then? Let's maybe give also like more reasonable errors here. So we'll call this a trap, and we'll call this error. Although neither of these, chamber 9 did not pass validation, init failure. So this is kind of happening. Oh, we just kind of like init failures just all over the fucking place, even though they're not init failures because we're fucking idiots. That's super cool. Super cool. Maybe we try to fix these. Or at the very least, let's log on them right now. I failed to load wasm function with this key. And this was failed to load wasm memory. Oh, here there's a make instance thing. So here we can say failed to make wasm instance. All right. And what else? What else could go wrong? Failed to make wasm module. Init failure. Where else can these happen? These are on the loader, so that's not happening here. It's when we try to make the chamber. So maybe that's good enough. Maybe. Maybe not, but maybe. Refresh, 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 refresh. Okay. Was it counter on the failures? Did not pass well. It's just this init failure still. But we just added. Did we miss some? Init failure, init failure, init failure, init failure. Wasm loader, those ones shouldn't matter. Oh, maybe it's... Yeah, this should be fine. I mean, I'm clearly wrong. Oh, add fuel. But this should say failed to set module fuel. I mean, I'm clearly just like wrong. So maybe we'll say engine init init with limits load context, load store. I don't know. Like we'll come back to this and fix it later. But I just want like some fucking indication of what's going wrong. Yep, these all have logs associated with them, so I think it's all of them. Should be all of them. Yo, what's up, what's up? Okay, so here I add the counter, I submit. Oh, failed to make wasm instance. Oh, that's interesting. I don't understand. Failed to make wasm instance. Okay. Sure. I mean, oh, maybe we just log the trap here and maybe that will give us some clues. Maybe that will give us some clues. So we can just kind of do this again and just kind of try to figure out if that gives us any info. It might not. And if it does, we should propagate that to the user because, well, maybe we should start like, let's try one that we know works, simple. So this passed validation, so we're good. We know some things can pass validation. So we'll go back to the counter one that we know fails. Counter, submit. Oh, that's really bad. Why the that's really bad. What the fuck is going on? Oh, I'm an idiot. Because this has to be if trap is not equal to null. But it looks like that's not the case, and if error is not equal to null, there might be some information we can pull out of that. Very possibly. Very possibly. It's a good thing that I did that because otherwise we would have crashed in production later and that would have sucked. Is it bad to use ChatGPT to explain things? I've heard it's not to do that as it's not good to do that as a beginner. I think I've found that it is not like ChatGPT is wrong a lot, and that's like kind of like a good thing and a bad thing, right? Because it means that you have to learn to double check his answer anyways. And I don't think that talking to ChatGPT to help you understand things is better or worse than talking to like another human to try to understand things, right? Other humans are wrong, and it's really about like, are you capable of like taking the thing that he told you and like breaking it down and understanding it, right? I think it just really like I don't think that you should just ask ChatGPT to write your code for you, and then copy paste what he says. I think that that's like not a good way to gain understanding of a system. But I think that like using him as like a learning resource, like he's your teacher, is like a very good thing, like fine thing to do, especially with the ability to like validate what he's saying. So I wouldn't really be like against it, but oops, wrong button. You know, everybody has different opinions, I guess. What we're trying to do, we're trying to check if counter here, if I try to upload it. Yeah, he just says failed to make a WASM instance, which makes sense. So this error value is coming out as he's erroring out. Very strange. So what is different here? People seem to be very easily start using it to think for them, use it as a tool, not to bring a replacement. Yeah, exactly. I guess it's possible that we are not feeding it the right thing. So it's possible that like he is asking us for some function and we're just not giving him the right function. It would be interesting to see if we can pull out information about errors. So we can look at the wasmtime C API and see what we can do on errors. What can we do on errors? So is there like error.h? Hell yeah. And we can pull a message of it. Let's do that. So if error is not equal to null, we are going to have to ask it about it. So I guess we just call wasmtime error message error or message. Do we have to delete this thing? I guess we've probably just been fucking leaking memory. We can check this with Valgrind. Because it's very possible that we're just leaking memory here, and that's a really big problem. So maybe we run like here. Just take this thing, and then we kind of slap it over here, and we do some bullshit to delete the quotes. There we go. Boom, boom, boom. And I guess this stuff we delete. We just want like the Valgrind args here. Boom, boom, boom. And then we just join everything back together. And we've probably want generate testdb. Oops, I'm running Valgrind on the wrong thing. So we want, oops, oh god. This we want to come before the Valgrind line. Boom. Okay, so we suspect that if we error, we're leaking memory, which is an easy thing to check here because all I have to do. That's a normal Valgrind problem. With Zig, he basically like walks the stack backwards, to try to like. Hello? Oh, this is fucking debug mode. Hold on. De-optimize equals release safe. So yeah, Zig tries to like walk the stack backwards to try to figure out like where an allocation came from, and as part of that stack walking, he eventually runs into like an invalid memory address, and that's how he knows that he's finished like walking his stack. But Valgrind goes like, "What the fuck? You just like asked us about like an invalid memory address. What the fuck is wrong with you?" Okay, so it was the counter one. We submit this, and we should see error. And now if I control C, ooh, there are some leakies. Leaky. Eggs and brekkie. Eggs and wakey, eggs and bakey. Leaky, eggs and breaky. Leaky, eggs and breaky. Perfect. Do not quit your day job. Just like thank you. Too late, but okay, so I guess that means that anywhere we're calling these like wasmtime things, if there's an error, we need to free it. So we need to go like C wasmtime error. That's a crazy API requirement. But oops. I'm just gonna do this here. And we'll do the same for trap. Probably. We have to do like wasmtime trap free. Delete maybe? No? Wasm.h? This seems like it doesn't force us to. So I guess traps maybe are. Where does this trap come from? Oh, because we allocate the trap up here. Wasm trap T. I feel like we do need to do like a if trap is not equal to null, C wasm trap delete trap. Something like that. And we can probably do this for the error block as well. This is wasm time error delete error. Yeah, it does look like that is error. I mean, it's not complaining about that, so it must be right. There we go. And we need to do this same thing for everywhere else where we create traps, which is luckily now, after a refactor I did the other day, only one place. It's in wasm call here. So wasm call, we defer delete the trap, and we defer delete the error. Boom. All right. Okay. So now that leak should be totally fine. Hopefully we upload the counter now and we control C and we don't see any leakies from Valgrind. We'll give him a sec. He's got to think. He's compiling. He's working hard. Poor little guy. All right. So counter, submit. Did not pass validation. I control C. Oh, we are still leaking. At ensure valid chamber, we load the chamber. New. wasmtime store new. Are we not freeing the chambers after validation? Also a leaked file descriptor from wasmtime as well. This is at wasm chamber zig 50. So this store, this gets. Oh, we need like an error defer here as well. Oops. Oopsies. Wow. It's a good thing that we hit this because well, lots of mistakes. And I think this is like probably one of the problems with I mean, I don't know if it's like a problem with Zig or a problem with me, but like there is something nice about like the defer blocks are pretty goddamn good, but I still find myself occasionally fucking them up, where with RAI it's a lot harder to do that, but you know, it's also not the end of the world. Okay, that's way better. Okay, no more leakies. We fixed some leakies at some point. Fix some leakies. I don't know. It's fine. It's fine. It doesn't fucking matter. Okay, so now that we've kind of gone on that side mission, we were trying to understand why the fuck we are erroring out. So that's on wasmtime instance new. It was something like make instance here. Yeah, it was here. So we want to say if trap is not equal to null, we try this. If error is not equal to null, we do this. And it's gonna look very, well, it was like wasmtime error message here. So we want to call something like C wasmtime error message, given our error. we want the message. And am I supposed to free this thing? Should be uninitialized before this function is called, and the caller is responsible for deallocating it. Okay, cool. So we have message is a wasmtime wasm name, t is equal to undefined. And then we call this thing, this needs to be a variable. And then we say defer. I guess here, yeah, this can't fail, so it doesn't matter. Wasm, I guess technically it's a little bit more correct to put this here. Wasm name delete. We delete the message after. Before we do that, we can log it. Let's see what it's complaining about. I think it's .data. I wish my language server worked for this. Fuck. Expected type. This found that. Right. This needs to be a little ampersand here. And maybe we're good now. Oh, we don't need to run in Valgrind anymore. We fixed that, so we can kind of go back to debug mode, which compiles faster, and get out of Valgrind, which runs faster. Little double whinny. Stupid Vim question. Do indent and type on a blank line. Do you do CC? I recently found out you can just do capital S. Trying to get that one key saving muscle memory stuff, though. I'm a believer that the character count is not important. Like, I think that it's like, okay. But like, is typing capital S? First of all, capital S and CC are the same amount of key presses. Second of all, if you have one thing that you know works, it's like, more words in your vocabulary is nice, but like, there's no reason to force yourself to use new words if the words that you have convey the information that you want, right? So I kind of view Vim as like a language in that way. And like, sure, there are lots of words in English I don't know, but I don't need to use them. And like, if I find a new word and it's like, oh, I like that word's fucking sick, then I'll use it. And if I don't, then it's not a big deal, I just wouldn't worry about it. I wouldn't worry about it. Okay. Character count is the most important part of being a developer. What are you talking about? Dude, oh my god. So when I worked at this one company, there was these guys would just fucking bicker. They would just bicker so much. And not like fun bicker, not like banter, right? It was like a fucking married couple that don't like each other, but like are forced to live with each other because they have a mortgage on their house and they don't want to split up. Right? So they're just like sitting there just like fucking bickering all the time. And this one time I was like losing my fucking mind listening to it because they were talking about whether or not it's better in C++ to write map find I can't remember the syntax exactly, but it's something like map.find will return an iterator. So you can do like map type, like it's something like iterator end or something. I can't remember the exact syntax here, right? They were like, should you type this or should you type map count is equal to 0? And they were arguing about this for so fucking long, and they were trying to like bring other people in, and the argument for this one was that there was less characters typed. And I'm like, first of all, oh my god, who fucking cares? Also, if you're going to fucking make an argument about this one's obviously better. Because if you're going to argue about this is like, we're going to bail out of the fucking calculation when we found the first thing. Here we have to count them all. And it's like, who the fucking cares about the character count? What the fuck are we talking about? Also, shut the fuck up. Nobody cares. Just commit whichever one you fucking feel like. If you're a reviewer, don't fucking bring it up. Like, oh my god. Oh my god, I'm still mad. Like, fucking like 10 years later, maybe less, but like 7 years later, I'm just still angry because I could not believe that people were arguing about that. Like, I couldn't fucking believe it. Anyways, you reminded me of that. Okay, here we go. Failed to make WASM instance. Minimum memory size of 17 pages exceeds memory limits. Okay, so this is a really good error message that we need to propagate to a user. So it's good that we found this. And now the question becomes like, how do we propagate this to a user, right? Because this string is like incredibly informative. Incredibly informative. And the way that like Zig errors work, you don't really get the luxury of passing a string back as an error, right? Like in Rust, you have like, enum result te, right? And like you can just make your like error type have like a string inside it, right? You can do that. But or I guess sorry, that's not it, you would do like my error, sorry, and then you're like my error would have like wasm instantiation failure, and you put a heap allocated string here, right? That's how I would do this in Rust. But in Zig, like you don't really have this. You have like your errors are just like a number essentially, right? They're like a special number that like has like special compiler optimization semantics or whatever, but it's essentially just a number, right? And so I was looking up how to do this in Zig, like how the fuck do people like return state with their errors? And I stumbled across this. Nope, not that. That's I googled the letters CH. I'm really glad there wasn't something more like concerning in my paste buffer there. CH is fine. But basically, like, yeah, somebody here was like, I would like to like have like union errors in my thing, right? And at some point, Mr. Andrew RK responds with, oh, I think I found a pattern that we can use right now that's like an alternative to this proposal. And if we like look at the code that's associated with this thing, it's essentially the idea of passing in like diagnostics with your thing. So if we just go into the Zig standard library and search for the word diagnostics, we can find some like good examples. Zig standard lib. So right, this pattern's like around. It's like a thing that the language does. And also, I was really annoyed at their JSON parser for not giving me better error messages, and now I'm finding out that they just do give you better error messages, and I just didn't know how to get them, right? So they kind of have like this like idea that like if you look at like tar diagnostics, like what the fuck is in here? They have like one of the things they have is like a list of like tar errors, and the tar errors can say like, oh, these are like things that we didn't do correctly. And it's like, okay, how the fuck do you use this thing? Well, when you tar stuff up, you let's see, maybe where do they make this thing? Tar archive is a single ordinary file. So maybe an iterator. Ah, yes. Okay. So you like try to iterate a tar, and as one of the things that you put into your tar, you like, maybe I want some diagnostics, right? And then when you iterate, probably, if we look at the source code for this thing, we'll probably find out. This is farther than I went offline. I just knew that diagnostics existed. I haven't looked at this yet. But we'll probably find that if, we can like, if the diagnostics are present, they probably use them in some way. Where do they actually, oh yeah, here. So like if options diagnostics, they do this thing on it. Okay. So in our case, like I guess like the benefit of this approach is that you're only paying for the expense of giving the like more in like the better error messages if you need them. In our case, we know that we always want the error message. Probably. Oh, I guess we don't actually, huh? Oh, we probably do. Yeah. We'll pretend we always want them. And so then we can kind of say like, well, we need to pass in some sort of diagnostic struct. That's like the pattern that the standard library uses, and it's like a pattern that makes sense, right? You need to stash the string somewhere. And so saying that like you have this caller allocated thing that you can like push things into makes a lot of sense to me. So I think we'll do it that way. And so I guess just like maybe we can like associate the diagnostics with the chamber, so that we don't have to pass it down every call, right? That's kind of like similar to what we were saying here, where they construct their like iterator, and their iterator owns the diagnostics. I think that's like the similar pattern that I saw with like the JSON diagnostics, where here let's see, their diagnostics, you call source enable diagnostics with the diagnostics things, right? Like they like kind of like attach it to the thing, and I think that makes sense, right? Because it's just like passing it in everywhere feels a little shittier. And then you can just choose to look at it if you want to. So we could do that. Let's think about a little bit how that kind of plays out, because the chamber implements like this interface. And does the interface, like, I don't know if the interface needs to know about the diagnostics. We can always fix it later if we have to. So let's just throw some diagnostics on here. Fuck it. Diagnostics. Oh, I guess here the init failure is actually before this. The init failure is actually on load. So maybe on load, we pass in diagnostics. And this is going to be a pointer. And I guess we'll make one. And this will let us put wherever the fuck we want in this thing, which I don't really know what it is. We can maybe look at examples again to see like what other people do. Like, I don't know if I want this to be like a union that where the switch into the union is like specified by error. It looks like here they kind of just, this is like, what is this error type? A union. And this is, I see, oh, I see, a union enum where these are the types. Okay, sure. We could do that. I'm okay with that. It's possible that we can just get away with like a string, right? It's possible that we can just get away with this, right? Maybe the failure will always come with a message from the wasm instance, and maybe that's fine. Yeah, maybe we just start there. Maybe we start there. This thing is going to need to be freed in some way. So maybe we make like an init function. Well, this I guess can start with just being empty. I guess he needs an allocator associated with him though, right? Because, well, there's two options here. So the wasmtime thing, he returns an error that has a message associated when we pull the message out, and then we free the message with wasmtime's internal tracking things. Which I guess makes sense. We can just return, instead of like copying that thing out and storing it in our own allocated memory, we could just use theirs. Someone's saying maybe a static buffer, no need to free. I did consider that. I don't like that idea that much because it's like kind of locking you into single thread. I mean, we are single thread, but I also don't like the idea of like global state for error handling. I think like errno and like the way errno works is like a big mistake. I don't really want to go that route. I think that maybe it's possible that we can assume that every message that we were going to want to return from here is a wasm name t. I think that's the same for like the trap error messages. Let's take a quick peek. Maybe it's in wasm.h actually. Trap message. Yeah, so these both give this is wasm message t. But I think these are both aliases for wasm bytevec t. Yeah. So I think that we can just say that we have like message is a wasm byte is a maybe optional pointer to a wasm bytevec t, which starts as null, right? Then we have like a function dinit, takes in self, and if message, we deallocate this thing. So see wasm byte vec delete m. This. And then we can say like, maybe we say get here. Right? And he returns a const u8, which is just like a conversion of this thing. So this is gonna be like message.data from 0 to message.len. Length, maybe? I don't remember. What is in bytevec t? Size. That seems reasonable. He's a little behind. I don't know why. Oh, because he's not behind. I just didn't fix them both. I thought he was behind, but I'm an idiot. Okay. Now, when we create the chamber, we're going to stash the diagnostics here as well. Well, we'll get there when we get there. Let's start by just getting into the exact case where we have a problem right now, which is in make instance. So here we have diagnostics. We want to pass in diagnostics. And I guess maybe we'll also, this is gonna be public. This is gonna be public, and then we'll just make a little setter. Dude, did you just have a stroke? What? What the fuck are you talking about? Is this like, am I supposed to, is this letters that I'm supposed to parse into a word? Or did you just like drop your face on your keyboard? It's really funny. Okay. Caesar cipher. Okay, so we're gonna set this thing with some message. And here I guess we're gonna have to, when we set this thing, we have to delete it if it's there. And if we set it and there's a thing there, like maybe that's a mistake. That's probably fine. It's fine. Self message equal message. I think that maybe it makes sense that like maybe we were gonna call this thing many times in a row, right? And every time we call it, like we're gonna use the same diagnostics structure, but like check it between many calls. I think that probably makes sense. In which case, like maybe this D init is a little confusing. Like we could call D init between. Maybe we'll just leave it fucking in the buffer. Like fuck it, who cares? We can have a little bit of extra wasted memory. Okay, so now we're just gonna look for cases where we look for trap and error, and here instead of just logging it, we're gonna say self diagnostics set with diagnostics set message. That makes sense to me. That makes sense. And then here, this is going to be like an error defer only. I guess there's no way that this can error out. But maybe writing the error defer will prevent me from future mistakes, so I'm okay with that. And then we can just return this. Okay. This makes sense to me. This makes sense to me. Now, on this getter, it being 0 length is fine. That's fine. It's fine. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing here with the trap. We're gonna do the same thing here with the trap. So this is now only going to be freed on error. And then we set the message. Boom. Bing, bang, boom. Okay. So now whoever calls this guy has to do something, right? So we can look at I guess we just compile and see what happens. Okay, so wasm chamber to zig 72. Oh, oops, wrong one. Unused function parameter. Really? Do I not pass this to here? We just forgot. We forgot. It's a hard life. And then server simulation. What line was that? 79. Here he needs to pass in some diagnostics. So now the question becomes, do we want them when the chamber is running as like part of the normal simulation? I could see like maybe we only want the diagnostics when we're testing the chamber, and when it's like part of the normal simulation, maybe we just kind of say like fuck it. I'm kind of okay with that. So maybe this should be like this, which means that this should also have a question mark on it, and then down wherever the fuck we do this. Maybe it makes sense for us to kind of split this shit out into a function. It's like function handle trap, and this is going to return like this. Yeah, we will say this is like a handle trap error. And we kind of take like our error, which is a wasmtime error t, and our trap, which is a wasmtime wasm trap t, I think. No wasmtime, just wasm trap. Then we take our diagnostics, which are as an optional diagnostics. Okay, Now, now we just kind of do this stuff. And we only get the message out if diagnostics is not null. So we can actually handle the diagnostics is null case at the top. So first of all, if trap is equal to null and error is equal to null, like who gives a fuck? We get the fuck out of here. Now we know that there's something wrong. But if diagnostics is null, we don't have to look at the contents of these things. We just return an error like immediately. Wasm. Maybe we'll check these things separately. If diagnostics is equal to null, if trap is not equal to null, we return a wasm trap like this. If error is not equal to null, return an error wasm error like this, I guess. Might be wise to log message if diagnostic is null. Let me think about that. But I think that like maybe it's just okay if they fail. That was kind of what I was thinking. Like if they fail, like that might just be part of like expected flow, and maybe we just go like, fuck it, we get rid of this thing and we can look into it like externally later. Yeah, I think I'll do that. I can see your argument too. Like I'm not 100% convinced that I want to do it this way, but it's fine. I don't want to go into like the extra effort. Okay. Okay, so now we have like diagnostics is not null down here. And this stuff is all fine. This stuff is all fine. There. Okay. Yep. I think that makes sense. So now we can just say handle trap error with error, trap, and diagnostics. Like this. There we go. Bing, bang, boom. And then we can reuse this in wasm call. Which is down here. Down here. Which means that this guy also needs to kind of get like diagnostics. Maybe like here. Which means that everybody who calls this guy kind of has to pass in like diagnostics. Like this. Oops. I'm still recording my macro. That's not good. I meant to just record it one time. So this is like self diagnostics, comma, next Q. There we go. Kind of just slap it into all of these if we can, and we're chilling. We are chilling, and then here we just need to stash the diagnostics. So diagnostics is diagnostics like this. There we go. And then diagnostics is equal to diagnostics. Okay. Zig build. Not quite there. Server simulation 79. Right, so here we want to pass a null. We didn't really care about them here. And then we need to chamber tester. There we do care about it. This is the important place. So here we're going to say var diagnostics is equal to wasm chamber diagnostics. I guess like this. Then here we can pass in the wherever the fuck we make this thing. Which I guess is like all the way up here actually. Boom. Okay. And then we just have a error at 419 in wasm chamber. Oh, because here we need to just dereference the optional, but that's fine because we know it's okay. Expected type this found that. Oh, interesting. The byte vector is a, it's not a pointer. I see. I see. So this is actually more like this, and then we delete with by pointer like this. I think that's okay. Not quite, because this thing needs to be taken by pointer so that it can be mutated. All right, I think we got there. I think we got there. And now we can kind of just go back up to the upper loop here, and I guess we kind of want like all of this stuff now to kind of run inside some sort of failable thing. And then at the end, we'll just like kind of stash the diagnostics along with the failure. That makes sense to me. So maybe we do something like a ensure valid chamber failable. Yeah. Then this guy has maybe no error associated with him. Oh, maybe. Oh, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. No, he needs to return. Even this guy needs to return this actually. So this gets passed in here. We need this because it's the server who knows where the DB is. So it's here. When we validate the chamber, we get the chamber, we sure valid. So we say here self or diagnostics. Which was, what was it? WASM chamber diagnostics. Means that we need WASM chamber here. Yup. That's making sense now. It's making sense. We pass this in here. And then if we fail validation now, we can say Y like this. And let's just kind of start here. We will log both the error and the reason. Like this. And that will give us a clue on if everything else is kind of hooked up right. But it's not because this is in test chamber. Okay, whatever, we don't have to file that. There's like an executable we can run to do the same thing, but we don't need that right now. We don't need it. Diagnostics. I wrote const probably instead of var. No, it's var here. What is he mad about? It's at chamber tester 45. Oh, because I wrote ampersand again like a fucking dumbass. Pointer. A pointer to a pointer. Message data, optional type does not support field access at WASM chamber 18. Right, this makes sense. So if self message is equal to, I guess we'll do it this way. If we have a message, we return it like this. Otherwise, return a nothing. Little bit of nothing. A little bit of nothing. All right, he still doesn't like that because I wrote self message again in here instead of M. All right. Okay, we're up and running. And then if we try to upload our shitty broken chamber, does it work? That's not good. That's not good. Not good at all. So it's possible that when we get the message out of the thing, it's like also referencing memory of the thing itself. Trap message. Okay, let's look at this. Retrieves a message associated with this trap. It doesn't say that the trap needs to be valid, but this looks a lot like memory corruption. Right? Like a lot like memory corruption. So let's go back to copying it out. Okay. Like this. My bad. Okay. So now we are just going to return self message here. I guess we want an allocator assigned to this guy. And here, when we get the message, we are going to just self alloc. First, we're going to like slice this guy up. So it's like message data 0 message size. And then we'll just say self alloc dupe like this. And I guess we'll just kind of catch here and write like failed to dupe failure message. This shouldn't really happen, so I'm not really too worried about like propagating the error up. I don't think it's like really that big a deal. And this returns, I guess. Okay. Okay. Fuck, it's fucking freezing. Okay. Now, in all the places where we call the handle trap error, this guy actually needs to take this unconditionally free these things now. Okay. Okay. Let's try that. Fuck. Missing field alloc. Right, that makes sense. That makes sense. This is in server. Alloc is equal to self to alloc. That's fine. We could write an int function, but I don't want to. We actually do need a dinit there as well too, huh? But for now, let's just kind of see if it's broken. Yeah, so that's a lot better. So we'll just copy the memory now, that's fine. And then defer diagnostics dinit. And then in this dinit function, we have to actually call self alloc free self message. Okay. And here we also have to do that. I guess if it's 0, we can kind of unconditionally do this because the alloc free checks if it's 0 length and doesn't free if it's 0. So we're fine there to just do that every time. And we're chilling. We're chilling. Okay, so now that we have this information, we can store it in the database. So we can kind of say that like after all this time, we like retrieve useful info about WASM failures. And then we can kind of say we're at a new stage of our lives. So there's going to be add WASM failures to the DB. Boom. Okay. So now the question becomes, how does this get owned in the database? Right now, the way I have it laid out is you have like chamber, and he has like data, ID, like user, and state. And I guess like here, one of our states is like validation failed. And I guess like lots of these states don't have any data associated with them. So I wonder if it makes just like sense to have like just somewhere else like state message, right? Because like most of the time this isn't going to be populated, but like sometimes it will be. And then like in the case where we have like we are in the state of failed or rejected, then we go look up the state message for this chamber in here. So this will go like chamber ID to string. That seems reasonable to me. You could also do that like this has like, instead of this being chamber ID, this is like a message ID, but I think a chamber ID is fine. I think a chamber ID is fine. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, let's do that. So we are going to make a new table somewhere. Oh, this accepted chambers table is just like not used anymore, right? Oh, it is. Didn't I change this to say chamber state? I did. So this accepted chambers table shouldn't exist, but it does still exist by mistake. So this is chamber accepted. Should look at chambers where ID is 1 and state is equal to some compile time string of like accepted state stir is like stood format comp time print this number of int from enum of chamber state accepted. Okay. Then we can just shove this shit in here. Boom. Is it planned to store the hash of a chamber so that one cannot just upload the exact same chamber over and over again, or will that not be an issue? I think that probably I'll just limit the number of chambers that you're allowed to upload and then let you delete them. And then if I see someone like abusing it, I'll just ban them. Like, you know? But yeah, I think I'm not like super worried about like initial like safety checks, because the consequence of somebody like fucking with things in a way that they shouldn't is like the database will just fill up, I'll be angry at them, and then I'll just ban them and they won't be able to do it anymore. And then I like, there's like I think that I'm getting a little like tired of this project. I think that like we kind of covered most of the interesting stuff, and like a lot of that error stuff is like you can just ignore it if you're willing to every once in a while just do some manual work, right? The consequence is pretty low. Zinka, thanks for the raid. Appreciate it. What's up, you guys? Let's see if we can compile right now, because if we can compile, I can show you guys what we're working on. Looks like we can compile, which is very cool. Very cool. So this is what we're working on. This is what we're calling a collaborative Rube Goldberg machine. So the idea is that there are these balls, they're flowing through these chambers, right? And the interesting part here is that these chambers are pretty much like entirely defined by WebAssembly modules. So the thought is that people like write a chamber. The chamber has the ability to apply physics to balls and to render stuff on the screen, right? So here's an example in the bottom left of like this like spinning bar. You see the balls getting knocked off it. That's like the WebAssembly module is doing the physics in there. The chamber, like the global simulation, doesn't know about anything that's going on in chamber. It just knows I have balls and they have velocities, and I will apply those velocities to those balls every frame and check which chamber they're in, and then ask the chambers to do their work, right? So the thought is that people will write WASM modules. They just have to implement like 6 functions or something. And once they're implemented, they can upload the chambers and we'll add them to the simulation. We'll have this like big grid that like everybody's contributed to, right? That's the idea. Today, we are working on when I upload a chamber, if it's a shitty chamber, or even if it's a good chamber, there's kind of like 0 feedback on what happens. So I like submit this thing, right? And here our validator of that module goes, hey, we have like a maximum memory size and you exceeded it. That's no good. Don't do that. But like I, as like the person who uploaded the chamber, has no fucking idea that happened. So we're kind of working on like adding a user page. So the first thing that we were doing was just now we got this error message. We didn't have this before. And now we're looking at like, okay, so we need to like store that error message in the database somehow. And then like propagate that to the user, so that user will have like some sort of like user page where they see the chambers that they've uploaded and like what state they're in, and maybe like why they failed and stuff. But first we have to like get that information kind of collected somewhere. So that's what we're working on. Okay, so when we set chamber state, that's fine, and then maybe we'll just have like another function here that's like set chamber message, right? So technically you could set a message in any chamber state. Technically you could retrieve a message in any chamber state, but like really we know from like an application perspective that we only care about the chamber messages in like the rejected state and the failure state. So here we just set the message here. Oh, I think we forgot to make the table. So just a second here. We noticed when we were trying to make a table that we had like some leftover garbage that we didn't want. This accepted chambers table Boom, we don't want this anymore. I guess we could kind of like just use him though and turn this into like chamber message. And he has a chamber ID, unique not null, referencing chambers, but he also has a message. And this is going to be a string not null. I think that's fine. String is SQLite string, is that right? Like, is that the type? Why do you shout to your DB? I don't know. Everybody else does it though. So you really gotta yell at it. Maybe he's like kind of like reluctant to do what you tell him, and the only way, because you're like a bad parent and you don't know how to like, teach him that it's like good for him. Well, maybe you can't teach him that it's good for him to do these things because it's not good for him to do these things. Maybe he has no incentive to really do these things. But if you yell at your database, then he'll be scared of you, right? And then he has to do what you say. And when you get old, maybe he won't like you anymore. But by the time you're old, you won't care about him anymore because you won't be programming. Maybe you will still be programming. But maybe you'll be working on a different project. Okay. It's fucking stupid. What the fuck did I just do? Okay. What button did I just press? I just pressed something that did something very confusing to me. I don't know how I did that. Okay, I don't know. I don't even know what the behavior was. It just felt weird. This should be chamber messages, probably plural. Because all of our other table names are plural. And we have to keep consistency. And then wherever we were typing set chamber message, now this should be pretty fucking easy. We just kind of say, what SQLite upsert? How do you handle the fact like if something's in there, but I just want to update it if it already exists? How do we do that? On conflict, do update. Yeah. What? Yoinkies. Okay. So insert into chamber messages. We want to insert like an ID and a message. Right? Values, we're going to bind the first and second parameter ourselves. And on conflict of the ID, we're going to do update set message is equal to number 2. Where I don't think we need this where clause, right? Yeah, I don't think we need that. Boom, 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 boom. Wrong function. That's a really good point. It's a really good point. Get diff. This is what we had before. I would have figured it eventually. Okay. So we're gonna make our statement, and this is gonna say set chamber message is our failure message. And we are going to bind chamber ID here from the ID. And we are going to try to bind the chamber message with a SQLite 3 bind string. Bind text. Text. I don't know if we have a text bind already, bind text. We do, so we can just copy this. And if I remember correctly, these have the text binding has extra parameters here. So I think that it's like this last thing is like supposed to be like a function pointer that says like, hey, like I'm either going to like, how do I say this? It's like about like SQLite memory management. So you can say either I'm going to manage this memory or you manage it for me, please. And we're just kind of saying like, hey, don't worry about it. Like we'll manage it. Don't fucking worry. It's going to be valid for as long as you care. Okay. So 2 was the message. I think we're chilling. And then we run this thing once and we assume that it finishes immediately. If it doesn't finish immediately, then we have a fucking problem. Okay. So now we can go over like the chamber validation stuff. And we can say, oops, it's in the server that runs the validator here. Chamber did not pass validation. So here we just say, set the chamber state. And we're also going to say set chamber message. And we're going to use the chamber ID, and we're going to say, what are the fuck we had in here? I lost it. diagnostics dot get. Boom. And if this fails, we'll just log an error because there's like not really much else we can do here. And we're gonna say failed to set chamber message. Not really much else we can do. Yeah, seems fine. Seems fine. And so now we can like zig build, run this thing, try to look at. Fuck! It never works. It never works. It never works. It never works. DB 205. Am I fucking stupid? Oh, I probably tried to bind the ID with its strong type instead of with its weak, with its like inner type here. I'm just right. Dot value. Everything else hopefully is fine. Hopefully. Unknown data type for character messages, message string. Am I fucking stupid? Text. I even looked it up. I don't know why I just looked it up and didn't look at the fucking answer. Fuck dumbass. Okay, so now when we upload our shitty broken chamber, we should see. Okay, so we got this failure, and now if we look at the DB, hold on, we need to get SQLite browser in this terminal. I guess we could just kill the process. Okay, so if we look in here, we should see that ID7 has memory maximum minimum size exceeds memory limit. So that's really good. That is really good for us. Okay, so now let's try to make like a user info page. Like the world's shittiest user info page. We'll call this like user, I don't know, source res user HTML. I don't know if it doesn't matter. Source res user JS as well. And we will kind of yoink some existing HTML from somewhere else because I don't want to write it again. This looks good. This is the exact same fucking page, except we're going to pull in user.js. We're going to console log hello world. We're going to throw it over here. Hello world. And we're going to add this to our like links somewhere. Where's our like header.js probably? We're going to say go crazy on your user page. Water CSS, Pog. Yeah, I mean, I just need like, I don't know how to fucking do web dev, right? So I need to pull somebody's classless CSS framework to make my shit look somewhat presentable. So it's in there. Yeah, I don't know. Of the ones I saw, I was like, I like this one best. And I tried it one time and never looked back. Okay, refresh. It's not running. I guess we can probably run this thing kind of like long term. Sakura CSS is also pretty good. Oh, fuck. Sakura CSS. But water's my go-to. No pictures? Demo. Oh, it reminds me of, what's the like sun? There's like some like super common theme that like is like solarized. Reminds me of this a little bit. Kind of like in terms of like color scheme and stuff. Similar, kind of like the like brown faded shit. Oh, yeah, looks good. Okay, let's go to the user page and see what's up. So user, hello world, hell yeah. Hello world, hell yeah. Okay, step 1, complete. So what do we do in our like user page? I guess we're gonna like window on load init, and then we are going to async function init, and he's gonna do something. He's probably gonna like need the user info in some way. I guess like, so there's like 2 options here. One is like we could like grab the user info and then call like ask for all the chambers for our user ID. But that's like kind of fucking stupid when we have like we could just do it in one call. So we could call something like get my chambers. Or something like that. So we're gonna like const my chambers response is gonna be like await fetch my chambers. Is that like a stupid fucking URL? It's not great, but it's not like, I don't know. It doesn't really matter. You call it like user chambers, but then it's like a little confusing about like the fact that it auto resolves. Calling it my chambers feels like it's like very fucking clear. These are mine. Fucking mine. My chambers response JSON. And then I guess we'll just console log my chambers. Now, the problem is this URL doesn't fucking exist, so we're gonna have to make it exist. We're gonna have to make it exist. So we'll go into our server. We need to add like a URL handler somewhere. This is non-indexed target option. Calling it non-index is very funny. This is like the wrong word. This should be like non-query parammed. But that's fine. Leftovers from a previous life. We call this my chambers. And then here we say, if we see the slash my chambers, we say that the purpose of this thing is to get my chambers. Which means that somewhere we need to make that part of our enum, which is here. Which is just going to be no parameters. And then this is going to look very similar to whatever we do for getting all the chambers in a specific state. So we'll kind of put it next to it. We'll say my chambers. We're going to have to get the user for our request, which can just yoink from whatever this says. We don't need this or else, fuck it. We'll just write. We do need this or else. Well, I guess in this case we'll just say return error no user. That's fine. What is the loop over your editing stream and why is it always there when you stream? Well, you see, coding is fucking boring, right? And so now there's something to look at. It's like on TikTok when people watch Minecraft parkour Subway Surfers. And what is it? It's a maze. And we made it. We copied a piece of software from Windows 95 and made it way shittier. Way more resource intensive. I come here just for the maze, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of polarizing. Some people hate it, some people like it. I find that like my goal when I stream is to make something that I want to watch, right? And so like I find that when I watch my streams, because I watch them back like a fucking narcissistic asshole, right? When I watch them back, I find that I sometimes get like stuck watching the maze, and that's good for me because it means that like it gives me something to like focus on. It gives me something to focus on. But I can see why some people. I've gotten like a couple like people in YouTube comments being like, "Who the fuck thought that was a bad idea, a good idea?" And I'm like, "Well, me, right? I thought it was good. You don't have to be so fucking mean." Is it coded using raycasting? This is I was experimenting with Godot. So this is actually like rendered using like proper 3D engine and lighting, and then intentionally pixelized to make it look like shit after. So I actually like made this brick wall in Blender using like bump maps and shit, and then like imported it into Godot, and then set up some lights, and then just take all of the things I made, and I was like, okay, now scrub the shit out of it, make it look garbage. Kind of fun. Okay. So if we have a user, we should be able to then ask for all of the chambers associated with that user. So we're just going to say server db get chambers. We have like get chambers with state, but I guess we kind of want like get chambers in any state. We want this to be like get chambers for user. Get chambers for user. So instead of passing in the state here, we're going to pass in a user, which is going to have a I64. We don't have a strong type for user IDs, but that's fine. I guess we don't really want the data associated with it. We just kind of want like the do we? I guess it would be nice if we embedded the chambers we preview the chambers in there. In which case, Oh, no, we still don't need the data itself though, because the data itself will be fetched in like a separate request in WebAssembly instantiate streaming. So here we're gonna say get chambers for user no data. He is not gonna return the data. He's also probably not gonna fetch the user ID. We don't really need to pull that out of SQLix. We know what it is, and it's where what was it called? User ID. User ID is equal to 1. We take the user ID here, and then here the SQL chamber list. We actually do fuck it. Okay, like we could kind of feed in the user ID, but instead we're gonna take it in here because it'll make writing this code easier because it needs a column to be associated with. Data is null, and state is 3. 0 ID, user ID, name, state. Okay. Simple. Simple. So now we can just go back to our server. I'm not even gonna fucking bother testing this because I think it'll be right. But, you know, we've been wrong in the past. This takes in an allocator. Which kind of indicated we probably should have freed this, eh? Self server or server alloc. Is it user dnit? Yeah. Boom. I gotta say, normally I hate stuff like subway surfers, but I love your walls. Well, you know what? I'll take that. You're being nice, I think, but I'll allow it. I think there's a chance that the walls get replaced with the ball machine. There's a real chance of that. If we can figure out a good way to present the ball machine in such a small amount of space, I'll probably do it. Especially because then we can like attach it to like channel points and stuff if we want and stuff like that, which would be kind of fun. I also want to I like the idea of probably eventually I'll want people to be able to like log in and move a single ball by hand, and then people would be able to like go in and have fun and like affect the stream in a little bit if they want to. But we'll see. Okay, get chambers for user no data. So here we need to pass in the user.id. Solid. Okay. Then surely somewhere we already have like chamber JSON serializer. Perfect. So we kind of just copy paste all of this shit. So it kind of means that like this chamber JSON serializer needs to go somewhere that we can access it from multiple areas. Let's kind of like slap this over here. And then our get chambers is just gonna look very similar. I kind of feel like we shouldn't have so much duplication here. Like I'm copy pasting all of this, which is probably kind of stupid, but I'm not gonna think about it too hard. I will just kind of slap a fix me on this. This should also be deinted, right? This chambers thing. My high, get chambers for user no data. This returns a chamber list. This chamber list must be deinted. Yeah, okay. So why the fuck is that not freed in either of these? Oh, it is there. It's just not here. You could get a green screen sound, turn yourself into a chamber. That'd be kind of funny, except it kind of breaks the model, I think, because like it's important that the chambers have no interaction with the outside world. That's important to me, and so being able to feed in like data that is new requires like a level of interaction with the outside world that I don't want to expose. Just because like the security nightmare that becomes is like I don't want to deal with it. You know. Okay. This looks like it'll probably work. Let's fucking. Oops. Oh, fuck. Okay. So here now, we do see no chambers for me, but I think it's because I nuked the database in my control R because it's useful for when I'm like writing chambers, but I probably shouldn't have done that, but it's okay. So let's upload a chamber, and we will upload counter wasm, and we can then go to my user page and kind of like look and see if we see anything of interest. We do see this thing for my user, and I guess it'd be kind of interesting as well to maybe log in as me and double check that I don't see that. So for me, like Spheraphoria, the user, I don't see this, but if I go back to forcing myself as the admin user, I should see chambers associated with me. No? Wait, oh, it's in the console, right? It's not supposed to show up on the page. Okay, let's chill. Now, probably we also want to extract the chamber message here. So, kind of feels like that when we get the chambers, just kind of all of these. I mean, we could kind of limit it to like one. Let me think. Because we don't really need it in most cases. So it kind of doesn't seem like doing like a join on that table all the time makes sense. Maybe what we will do is here we were just going to say that we also have a message. And we'll also say it's 0 length if not present. And then we will also just give this as like an optional parameter here. As like a column where the message comes from our SQLite query, and then everybody else can set this thing to null. So here we can actually, if we just set this to null off rip here, that's fine. I'll just force everyone to set it. I'll force them. So here it says message is equal to null. Message equal to null. Oh wait, this is get chamber. Get chambers for user node data. Get chambers with state. Nobody wants the messages. Nobody. Except for, I lied. Somebody wants it. This guy. So here he's going to say message from chambers left join chamber messages on chambers ID is equal to chamber messages ID. I'm like very unconfident in this SQL query, so we're just gonna SQLite browser real quick and execute some school. The user ID is equal to, was it 2? 1 maybe? Ambiguous column name ID. So this needs to be user.id, or sorry, chamber.id probably. No such column chamber.id, chambers.id, plural. Okay, there we go. So this is exactly what I want. So what change? It was, the only change was just chambers.id there, right? I think it was. Need some Vim dad bod in your life. Is this you calling me fat? Or are you saying that I need a Vim daddy? What is that even? Could you explain? Please go into more detail about what a Vim dad bod means. Oh, this is probably a fucking plugin, huh? Vim dad bod. It's almost certainly an SQL. Yeah. Okay. Okay. You were actually being very helpful. Interesting. I don't know if I like this. Feels strange to me. It feels like it's like way beyond the responsibilities of what I would expect my editor to do. Wow, those weren't words. Way beyond the responsibilities of what I would expect my editor to do. Okay, and then when we do SQL chamber list, this guy needs to extract the message as well. So here we're just gonna say like message is equal to message, and then we're gonna do something very similar to the data thing where we say, well, we're gonna start with it as null, but if we have a message column that somebody has asked for, we look at that message column. And instead of extracting a column blob, we're gonna extract the column as text. And this is gonna go to message, not to data. Chamber has no message. I guess this is kind of like an expected case where a chamber has no message. So instead of this returning a failure, we're just gonna return we're gonna do const text is equal to this. I think that's fine. And instead of this or else, we're gonna say if text t, because you can't duplicate name, no shadowing allowed. You can do this. Boom. Yeah, that seems right. And then I think that this will free this if this was populated. So I think everything's fine here. Like, and then on our serialization, does this get propagated automatically? Chamber JSON serializer. No, we need to propagate this. Like this. Okay. And then we want to rerun this without fucking removing and generating a new database. I just want to keep it as it is. Keep it as it is, baby. And then here, we refresh this thing, refresh, 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 go to the user page. And now we should see a message embedded with this, which is very good for us. Okay, let's upload a second chamber that we think will pass. I think the, any of the Zig ones should be fine. So like, let's just upload simple. Okay, so now on our user page, we have two things uploaded. One is this simple and his, oh, we don't have the state. We want the state as well. That's important as well. Let's get the state in there. And this chamber state should be stringized. So it's a enum. There's no enum to string, but we can do const state stir is stood format buff print into some buffer. State stir buff, we'll call it. He's a buff state string. No. This can't be how I'm supposed to. Stood meta enum. No. No. Am I high? There's got to be a way for me to just like stringize an enum in Zig, like without me doing any extra work. Right? Like namecast, tag name. Oh, at tag name. Thank you. Thank you. I was confused because I looked for enum and it wasn't in there. No state. Where, what? Oh, because this needs this state as a constant as well. Oh, fuck. Oh, it's okay, it's okay. We're good, we're good, we're good. I almost deleted the database when I didn't want to. It's a dangerous thing to have in my control R. Okay. So state, boom. Very good for us. Very good for us. Okay, sick. Sick, 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 sick. Okay, so now we're gonna go over into our like JavaScript side of things. And oh, I guess we did this like a long time ago. So we also did this. I guess we're kind of on this. So this is at some point before 137:45. I'm gonna have to collect these timestamps before I make the YouTube video. Oh, it's just a little too skinny. No. It's okay, we'll live. Okay. So we're gonna want to do something like very, very similar to this admin page, I think, where we're gonna want like a title as well as a like preview of the chamber. And I think that we're probably going to want to like group them by state. I think that makes sense to me. So, oh, maybe, but wait, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's just start by just fucking ramming them all in there. So, in our admin version, what do? We say we get their chambers, we go over each chamber, we make a chamber widget. That seems reasonable to me. That seems reasonable to me. And what does make chamber widget do? He has like an instantiate chamber, a make chamber widget. This is gonna all look very similar. I'm okay with copy pasting. I'm not, yeah, it's not the end of the world. Okay. Make a chamber widget. So this is gonna look different. We're not gonna say chamber name by chamber user. We're just gonna say chamber name. And maybe we're gonna put like a colon here and put the state as well. We don't need to sanitize the chamber state because that comes from us. We don't need to worry about that. But I think it's like we might as well sanitize it just out of habit. It's like a good kind of default behavior. We are going to put this thing in a div. I guess that makes sense. We are not going to have like reject and accept buttons like we did over here. we're just gonna kind of have like, I don't know. What are we gonna do? What are we going to do? I guess we need the message somewhere. So can we just like append chamber message? Like, fuck it. If I don't know, we'll see. I'm not really positive this is right. And then am I supposed to like do this in this language? Is this, that's probably not correct. I guess I just do this. We just don't assign the variable. Okay, let's see what this looks like. I guess we failed sanitization here, which is kind of funny. Why? So this is validated, this is redacted. That's so funny. This should say validation failed. It's probably because we don't allow underscores. That would be my guess. And should we allow underscores? I don't see, underscores are safe, right? It's mostly just these that I'm worried about, I think, right? There we go. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. I mean, that's already like a massive fucking improvement. Right? Like absolutely massive. And then we just, when we upload a chamber, we should redirect to the user page instead of to the simulation page. So when we have like dot upload, oops, dot upload here, we just redirect to user. Which means that I need to recompile this, unfortunately. That looks like a memory leak. That's not good. So this is coming from SQL Chamberlain. It's probably in like some of the new code I just wrote. I probably just didn't defer something that I was supposed to. Get chamber. Yeah, this should be unconditional defer. No, it shouldn't. Sorry, that's the wrong fucking thing. I lied. I'm a liar sometimes. My chambers, here. So we defer chambers dnet. When you're done, raid Johnny Marr or Christoph, both streaming Zig. Thank you. Good getting ahead of it. Good getting ahead of it. That's awesome. Appreciate the plugs. Okay. Let's see. So, what am I looking for again? I'm trying to figure out why this is fucking leaking. Response body. I mean, this looks like he should just be unconditionally dnetted. I don't know why he's not. Where did I copy that from? From here? Which means that this probably also should just be like fucking. Oh, no, it's not. It's fine because we do a 2-on slice. That's fine. That's actually totally reasonable. I actually don't know where the leak is coming from. Get user chambers, no data. So he gets a SQL chamber list. So we do free the chamber list. Was it in the like message parsing? I mean, we could just like up the backtrace. Let's just do that. Let's just do that. So in here, when we create our general purpose allocator, we can say that like the stack trace frames, you just like fucking crank that to the fucking moon. Got an ad, got distracted. I want to make sure you mention it before you're off. No, that's great. Thanks. he doesn't hear me because he's got an ad. Okay. So how did we fuck this up before? We like uploaded something. We like went over here. We submitted the query, and now we are in the user page, which is very cool. This is pending validation. Validated, also very cool. Dude, this is sick. This is actually so fucking cool. Control C, and we can look at like where this actually leaked from now. This comes from get chambers for users, no data. Dupe SQLite data. Yeah, get chambers for user, no data. Why the fuck is that problem? Get chamber no data. Yeah, so like, am I fucking stupid? Oh, do we just not free the message? Yeah, we're just dumbasses. This needs to free message. That'll do it. That will do it. That will do it. So now I just refresh this, Control C, and there should be no leaks. Chillin'. Okay. All right. So we kind of did this at some point too. So I don't really know when. And I didn't get to like custom rejection messages. But I don't know if I want to right now, to be honest. I don't think that we kind of covered like most of the interesting part here. So we have this like validation failed. We have this like message that's propagated up from the like wasm thing using like wasmtime function calls using the like traps and error messages that they provide, which is pretty cool. We then stick those into the database, and when we are in this state, we like fetch this message, we display it if it's there. And I think like the only part that we have to do like custom error messages is just when I like add a little string field here that when I hit reject like gets passed along with it. I don't think that's like too interesting, so I think I'll probably do that off stream. This is like a big improvement, although I think it's kind of like unfair that like if a user uploads something and they don't like it, we are probably gonna have to like give them a button to say like I don't want this anymore, like delete this one, I don't want it. But that's okay, that's not too much work as well. I'll probably do that off stream as well. Yeah, I think we're getting pretty close to a point where this is like fucking usable, right? So if I like go and like I'm developing a chamber, I can go into like the chamber tester thing and I can like go in here and I can like slow down the simulation and like crank the number of balls and stuff. Once I'm happy with it, I can go to upload. I can like say I'm uploading dude. I go over here, I type dude wasm, submit the query. Now this goes in here somewhere and he says like, oh, this is validated. The admin comes over here and I say like, hey, I want this, I want this, I want this. And if I go back over to my user page, now all of a sudden I see that this is accepted, this is accepted, this is accepted. That's super fucking sick. That's like pretty usable almost. Yeah, cool. So I think probably in the very, very near future, we're going to go live with this. Pre-stream today, we were looking at making sure that like this doesn't like fall the fuck over in like lower latency areas. We have a little bit more to do there, but we'll get there. I think probably tomorrow we'll come back and I'll kind of start just doing some chamber development. I need to do a little bit of like dog fooding of the chamber development APIs just to make sure that like we can handle all of the cases that we need to handle, because I don't want to like publish an API and then say just kidding guys, we need to change it because like it's not good. So I need to develop just a few more chambers just to make sure that we kind of have everything that we need. But we'll probably do that tomorrow, and then I think that if all goes well tomorrow, we should be live on Friday. So pretty cool. Why is everybody doing coding in Zig? I mean, I don't know what happened is the right word. I think I was started just a little before a few of the other streamers we see. But like I saw, I've been meaning to try Zig for a long time, like maybe like a year or two. It kind of pops up on Hacker News every once in a while, as like it's just kind of like a nice. It fills this niche that wasn't really filled, at least in a very well in a well advertised way, right? I think that people like over time are starting to become like really really frustrated with Rust, right? The more Rust you write, there's like you kind of run into these walls of like, dude, writing a big project in Rust can be frustrating. Like the things that it forces on you make sure that like when you write code, it's like well tested and like very likely to work because like their type system is so like aggressive. And like but when you're just trying to like rapidly prototype something, it like gets in your way a lot and it's like kind of frustrating. So I think that there's like room that people have been looking for a kind of like low level alternative that is not C, but is kind of more C like, right? I think that like there's been a trend, I think in like the past like 5 years where people kind of saw the success of Go and it's like, holy shit, like we didn't need all of these language features, right? Like we can just write low complexity code. I think there's like, I've kind of seen like this like trend kind of generally of like the idea of like over using your language to kind of like reduce dry and like just like the idea that you should add more complexity to your software to repeat yourself less, to test more, right? Like, it's kind of, people are like, oh, the complexity is actually like too much, right? It makes things harder in a lot of ways. And so I think there's been kind of like a mindset shift of a lot of people. It's like, fuck it, just do whatever is like pragmatic and simple, right? Keep it fucking simple, you dumbass. Kissud. Keep it simple, you dumbass. Kissuda. And so I think Zig kind of fits into that very well as like a alternative to C and C++ that kind of like focuses on being pragmatic more than anything, but like with still a lot of like niceties and improvements over C and C++. So I can see why, like, and what, like, so I've been meaning to try it for a while because of that, right? And like, after using it, it's just a delight. It's a delight to use, man. What a nice language. It's just so fun to write, and it doesn't get in your way, but it helps you like just enough to feel like a big upgrade over C. So yeah, I don't know. Any interest in Nodin? I kind of see it, like I've seen it around. I haven't heard about it as much, so it wasn't on my radar as much. But from like the quick glance I took, it seems kind of like similar to Zig in a lot of ways, but kind of more focused on game programming, right? Like I think I saw that they have like OpenGL bindings in their standard library and stuff, and so I just think it's like it's not necessarily what I'm interested in. And I don't think I need another language in this space right now, but maybe I'll find out in the same way that I wrote Rust for a long time. I wrote Zig, I was like, holy shit, this is great. Maybe I'll find out that I wrote Zig for a while, or try Odin one day finally, because I just like finally get to it, and then I go like, oh, this is also great. But I don't have anything like, in my mind right now where I'm like, I have to try it. All right. I think I'm happy with the progress today. Pre-stream, we made a lot of good progress on the like buffering request side of things. Mainstream, we made a lot of progress on kind of like usability of this thing. It feels like honestly almost usable. Not perfect, but usable, right? Which is a big win for us. So yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. I think we're gonna do some chamber writing tomorrow, and we'll see where it goes from there. So thanks, guys. If you like what you saw, we stream most days. Mainstream at around 2 o'clock Pacific time for 2 hours. Mainstream VODs get uploaded to YouTube and archived here under playlists. So if you're new here and you want to check out some of the other things we've worked on, people were asking about like the stream stimulator. We've kind of done like an operating system. We've done like a terminal emulator. We've done a QR code decoder. We've done like a video editor. Right? There's a lot of stuff in your neural network that does text to images. Like if you want to go check that out, some like 3D engine stuff. If you want to check that out, that's there. Litmarv, thanks for the 32 bits. If you want to see code for all this stuff, the vast majority of it ends up on my GitHub. Link is also in the Twitch description. And what else? Pre-stream VODs get archived on Patreon if you want to check that out, or if you just want to feed me money, I would be happy to eat it. What else? Like, subscribe, Twitch Prime, and goodbye YouTube. Twitch, let's find someone to raid.